welcome back to Pure Nebraska. Wednesdays here on the program, we like to welcome a volunteer from the farm women's group CommonGround to the studio.
CommonGround is a group of farm women who want to be a resource for consumers who want to know more about how their food is grown. Joining us now is Deb Gangwish from the Shelton area. Thank you for being here today, Deb.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's good to be back in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Just saw you a few days ago down in San Antonio.
It was
a fun trip, wasn't it?
Oh my word, so much to do. Yes.
Yeah, you were very busy. You flew home on Saturday.
Yes.
When did you actually get to the Classic?
We actually got there on Monday. I participated in a bear advocacy forum, so I had 2 days ahead of time where I was at that meeting and then entered full force into Commodity Classic. So, one of the things that I want to talk about is for consumers looking at all the footage you have of the Commodity Classic, they may wonder, what does that have to do with me? And it really has a lot to do with the consumer, because that show is again, part of a farmer's way of educating him or herself on what they can do better and how they can become better farmers.
I know that there was a lot of talk at the Commodity Classic, and we're seeing some video now about sustainability.
Yes.
And maybe talk about sustainability in terms of what are you talking about when you say sustainability, and how does that relate to the consumer?
Consumers have really pushed for understanding where their food comes from and how it's grown, and I hope those needs will be addressed down the road with a smart label, and I think farmers are looking forward to being able to share their story on sustainability. Sustainability for the consumer means growing food in a careful, compassionate, thoughtful way. For farmers, we always think of it as growing more with less. How can we get that crop to reach its peak potential by using as little natural resources as possible? So we strive for that, and being able to go to Commodity Classic, we're able to look at equipment, crop protectants, new ways of applying fertilizer in areas just where we need it. We call it writing prescriptions, just like a doc would write a prescription. We write prescriptions for fertilizer, for how we plant our seed. There's just so many things farmers are doing to make sure that the consumer has a safe, affordable, and sustainable food supply.
And go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, well, I was just going to jump in and also ask you, you had mentioned something about farmers wanting transparency and about food labels or smart labels, and that's something you were talking about as well.
Right, we talked about that at the Bear Advocacy panel, and then I know on the back end, and I wasn't able to be on the discussion on the back end of Commodity Classic, but there's really some neat things coming down the line for the consumer as far as, being able to scan a code on a package of food and look at not only the nutritional value, but where that food is sourced. And I guess I want consumers to know that farmers are all about transparency. We want you to understand how much we care and what we do to grow your food in a way that keeps us all on a healthy, happy planet.
And let's say there are consumers out there who have questions. They can contact you with CommonGround.
Oh, and in fact, I encourage that. I mean, our farm is open every day of the year for someone who wants to visit. I mean, I just can't express that enough. And I know with CommonGround volunteers, there's so many sectors of ag that we're involved in. It would be wonderful if anyone ever wanted to visit. We cherish those moments.
You're excited to share the information.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell that. So, Deb, good to see you back here in Nebraska now.
Yes, it's good to be back. I always appreciate Nebraska after I leave.
Yeah.
It truly is the good
life.
life.
Fun to visit, but fun to come home.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you're going to stick around, which we love.
Yes, I'm going to make a little something.
A little something, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag.